You ever had one of those mornings where you nearly drop your coffee before you even take a sip? Yeah, that was me standing there in my robe at 6 a.m., blinking at a sight that would have made anybody question reality. There's an HOA, Karen, standing right on my property, not just by herself, but surrounded by catering trucks, tents, a big old Welcome Realtors banner stretched across my fence like she owned the deed. Oh, and did I mention the 150 strangers treating my ranch like their personal event venue, snapping photos, setting up tents, just acting like they'd reserved a slice of my life off Airbnb? My hands shaking with a kind of rage I hadn't felt since before everything went sideways in my life. Now you'd think maybe this is a misunderstanding, right? But this woman, Denise Smith, president of our HOA, clipboard in hand, that tight little smile, she just looks me dead in the eye and tells me I'm being unreasonable for objecting to all this. Like I'm the crazy one for not wanting 150 people throwing a party on my land at sunrise. That's when I realized something rotten was happening here, something bigger than just a missed email. Let me back up a sec, because this story doesn't just end with trespassing. It cracks open a whole conspiracy that nearly cost me my home, my friends, and the last memory I had of my wife. You ever wake up and just know it's going to be a weird day? That was 6:30 for me. I step out on the porch expecting my usual quiet coffee, and instead, bam, white tents, buffet tables with linens, a parking lot of luxury cars, and that banner at least 20 feet long. Welcome Oak Valley Realtors Association annual meeting. Like the Super Bowl, but for people who talk about square footage and granite countertops. I'm thinking this cannot be real. Maybe I'm still asleep. But nope. Here comes Denise marching over with that same clipboard. She swings like a sword. Morning, Jake, she calls out all cheery like this circus is totally normal. Hope you got our emails. We're so excited to showcase your beautiful ranch as the centerpiece for today's celebration. I'm still in my pajamas, coffee steaming, mind spinning. Emails, I never got any emails. I never agreed to this, and I sure as hell didn't sign up to have my private home become the county fairgrounds. I try to keep my voice calm. Denise, I have no idea what you're talking about. I never got an email, never agreed to any of this. She just smiles wider, which honestly makes her look more dangerous. That's not our problem, Jake. We sent 3 confirmations. We've got 150 guests, catering, media coverage. You're not going to ruin a community event over a little communication mix-up, are you? Like I'm the one being difficult. That's when it hits me. This isn't an accident, and it's sure not a mix-up. She's here to bulldoze me, and she thinks she's already won. Now, let me tell you something. I lost my wife, Sarah, 2 years ago, and ever since then, I've felt like I'm stumbling through every damn thing. Property taxes, paperwork, neighbor relations. She handled it all. Me, I'm just doing my best to keep the place from falling apart. But this, I know is wrong. I look out at these people all treating my home like a public park, setting up photo shoots in my wife's old garden, and for the first time since her funeral, I feel pure righteous anger rising up in my chest. Denise, this event isn't happening here. I don't care what emails you think you sent, this is my property. She raises that clipboard like a shield and starts flipping pages. Actually, Jake, we need to talk about some property boundary concerns that have come to our attention. That stops me cold. Property boundaries. What is she talking about? When I bought this ranch, the old owner seemed honest, walked me around the fence lines, showed me everything. Truth is, I was so lost in grief I didn't check half what I should have. Never had a survey done, never double-checked the deed. Just trusted that it was legit. Didn't have the energy to fight about lines on a map. But now Denise is standing there looking way too confident for my comfort. What boundary concerns, I ask, trying not to sound worried. She gives me this little predator smile and says, let's just say there might be some community access rights you weren't aware of when you bought. Before I can press her for details, I hear Rick's voice, my next-door neighbor. Thank God, and honestly the only guy around here who's kept me sane. Hey Jake, what's all this? Rick's the kind of guy who notices everything, doesn't take crap from anybody. He takes one look and goes from curious to pissed off real quick. Denise, this is a little elaborate for something Jake would just forget to mention, he says. Bless him, at least someone's on my side. Denise's mask slips a bit, but she tries to power through. This is an HOA-approved event. All notifications were sent. But Rick's not buying it. Events like this don't happen without the property owner signing off Denise. And Jake would have told me if he was hosting the entire Realtor Association. He's right. And that's when I make the decision that changes everything. I tell everyone loud enough to echo everyone off my property. Now. I lock the gate, same one Sarah and I installed back when things were good, and I call the cops. This is Jake Morris Oakwood Ranch. I need an officer out here immediately. There are trespassers refusing to leave. When Deputy Miller shows up, he takes one look at the crowd of realtors, the luxury tents, and then at me standing there in my pajamas holding a coffee cup like it's a weapon. And you can see him trying to figure out who the crazy one is. Before I can explain, Denise is right at his side waving a folder. "Officer, this is a properly scheduled community event, and Mr. Morris seems to be confused about property access." She hands over a map and official survey. Deputy Miller studies it, then looks up, and I can tell he's not buying her story either. "Mr. Morris, did you know there were legal documents filed against this property 3 days ago? 3 days ago, I almost dropped my cup again." "What kind of documents?" He tells me. "If the survey's right, my fence is 8 feet over the line, encroaching on a community easement, and somebody's known about it long enough to file paperwork." That's when the surveyor shows up, full official gear, and spends 47 minutes confirming what Denise already seems to know. My fence is 8 feet onto the community easement. $15,000 to fix it. I feel sick, like the floor just dropped out from under me. Meanwhile, Denise is standing there, glowing no sympathy, just satisfaction, like she's watching a plan come together. Rick pulls me aside. "Jake, look at her. She knew exactly what the surveyor would find. This was planned. And he's right, nothing about this is random." Then, just when I'm about to lose it, one of the realtors starts filming me at the locked gate, uploads it online with some snarky caption about Crazy Neighbor Ruins community event. Within hours, I'm the villain of every Facebook group, the selfish guy who hates community spirit. Meanwhile, Denise is giving interviews on the local news, painting herself as the reasonable one dealing with a difficult resident. "We just want to bring the neighborhood together," she says, dabbing at fake tears. "Mr. Morris is struggling with some personal issues." My grief turned into a talking point. "You know that feeling when you want to scream at your own TV? That was me." Rick and I dig into the paperwork, and it's also official: catering contracts, insurance, event plans, everything listing my property as the venue. My lawyer tells me fix the fence, or the county starts hitting you with $500 a day in fines. Meanwhile, home values are dropping because apparently being the crazy neighbor tanks the whole block. I'm staring at my dwindling savings, trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to make this work. And then things get even weirder. I get a text from an unknown number. "Stop asking questions about the survey timing. Your wife couldn't protect you from everything. Some secrets she took to her grave, and that's where they should stay." I show it to Rick. His face goes from worried to genuinely scared. "Jake, this isn't about boundaries anymore. Someone's been watching you, and now they're trying to scare you off." I march over to Denise, who's still running cleanup like the Queen of England. I confront her about something I overheard phase 2. She tries to play it off, but her eyes keep darting toward 2 men parked outside business casual, looking like they're casing the place. Mrs. Henderson, oldest resident in the neighborhood, shows up and blows Denise out of the water. "Denise, you've been snooping around Jake's property for months, asking about his finances, medical bills, mail deliveries." Why Denise actually drops her clipboard for the first time, rattled. Rick, meanwhile, uncovers that Denise is deep in debt. Her husband filed for divorce, and she's making regular trips to the casino. She's $80,000 underwater and desperate, perfect mark for someone wanting to use her as a puppet. That's when the next player arrives, a developer named Thompson, rolling up in a black sedan. Offers to solve my problem for $40,000 above market and handle the fence correction. But Rick's question cuts right through. How did you know exactly how much the correction would cost? We only found out this morning. Turns out Thompson, Denise, and Rick have all been working together for months, targeting vulnerable homeowners, widows, elderly families in crisis manufacturing problems, and then swooping in with a solution. And the worst part, Rick, my so-called friend, has been feeding them information about me the whole time. The guy I trusted with everything, the guy who kept telling me to keep fighting. But Sarah, my Sarah, she'd been one step ahead. I find a lockbox in the old oak tree behind the barn, just like an anonymous note said. Inside, $18,000 defense fund legal strategies and a letter in her handwriting explaining everything how she'd predicted someone would try to take the ranch, how she'd been gathering evidence for months. Turns out she was working undercover with law enforcement, using our property as bait to catch Thompson's operation. The final showdown at the HOA meeting is chaos. Denise cracks under pressure, confesses to targeting me and others. The community erupts, and Thompson walks in thinking he's still in control until I drop Sarah's evidence on the projector meetings, financial records, timelines, showing their playbook for manipulating and stealing from vulnerable families. 6 properties in 2 years. HOA presidents, surveyors, developers, all in on it. Police arrest Denise and Rick on the spot. Thompson tries to bluff, but the county assessor stands up and announces a criminal investigation for elder abuse and organized fraud. The community, once divided, rallies together. Support groups form, new protections go into place, and suddenly I'm not the crazy neighbor anymore. I'm the guy people call when they're in trouble. But the last twist, the county assessor who helped take down Thompson, it's Sarah's twin sister, Emma. I never knew she existed. Turns out Sarah had planned the whole operation, even her own undercover role to bring these people to justice. Her last letter to me says, "You've become the protector I always knew you could be. Now help others like us." So now 6 months later, I'm sitting in a hotel in Colorado helping another community fight back against the same predators. Sarah's love didn't just save our ranch. It started a movement that's protecting families from coast to coast. You ever realize the person you lost was fighting for you even after they were gone? Yeah, that happened. Drop a comment if you've ever found out someone you trusted was living a double life, or if you've ever had to fight for something that mattered more than just money. And don't forget, sometimes justice comes from the unlikeliest places. Like, share, and let's hear your stories about standing up for what's right.